The diplomatic chamber aboard the Jothic warship hummed with tension. Khyven stood rigid beside the translucent barrier, his hands clenched behind his back as he watched the proceedings unfold. On the human side, Ambassador Hayal sat alone at the negotiation table, her dark eyes calm despite being surrounded by 7-foot-tall alien warriors whose chitinous armor gleamed like obsidian under the harsh lighting. The Jothic were a matriarchal warrior species that had conquered 47 star systems in the past century. Their delegation consisted entirely of females, each one a decorated military commander with countless battles etched into the ceremonial scars that lined their gray-blue skin. They had come to deliver an ultimatum: surrender Earth's outer colonies or face annihilation. Hayal had insisted on meeting them alone, much to the protest of Earth's military advisors. Khyven, her longtime colleague and friend, had only been allowed in the observation room after pulling every string he had. Now he watched helplessly as the lead warrior, Commander Jara, leaned forward with predatory grace. "Your species is weak," Jara hissed, her translator converting the clicks and growls into clipped English. "You build with soft materials. You waste resources on art and music. You even allow your males positions of authority." Her compound eyes flickered dismissively toward the observation window where Khyven stood. "Pathetic." The other warriors thrummed their agreement, a sound like rocks scraping together. Hayal didn't flinch. Instead, she stood slowly, her movements deliberate and measured. The warriors tensed, hands moving toward weapons, but she simply folded her hands in front of her. "You're right," Hayal said softly. "We are different from you." Jara's mandibles clicked in what might have been satisfaction. "But may I ask you something?" Hale continued, her voice gaining strength. "In all your conquests, in all your wars, has anyone ever told you the truth about yourselves?" The chamber fell silent. Jara's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Speak plainly, human, before I lose patience with your prattle." Hayal took a breath and Khyven found himself holding his own. What was she doing? "You are so beautiful." The words hung in the air like a detonation. Every Jothic warrior in the room froze, their postures locked in place as if time itself had stopped. Jara's expression shifted through a dozen emotions in rapid succession: confusion, suspicion, anger, and something else Khyven couldn't quite identify. "What did you say?" Jara finally managed, her translator glitching slightly on the words. "You are beautiful," Hayal repeated, her voice steady. "All of you. Has no one ever told you that?" The warriors looked at each other, their rigid military formation dissolving into something resembling bewilderment. One of them, a younger fighter with fewer scars, made a sound that the translator couldn't process. "This is a trick," Jara snarled, but her voice lacked its earlier certainty. "A manipulation tactic." "No trick," Hayal said, stepping closer to the barrier between them. "Look at yourselves. The way your armor catches the light. It's like starlight on deep water. Those scars you bear? Each one is a story, a testament to your strength and survival. The synchronization in how you move together, it's like watching a deadly ballet. And your eyes," she met Jara's gaze directly, "they see everything. They miss nothing. That's not just efficient, it's extraordinary." Khyven watched in amazement as the most feared warriors in the galaxy stood completely still, processing something they had apparently never heard before. The translator struggled with the sounds they were making, soft, almost confused vocalizations. "In our culture," Jara said slowly, her aggression melting into something vulnerable, "beauty is not a concept applied to warriors. We are tools, weapons. We exist to serve the hive's expansion." "But who told you that's all you are?" Hale asked gently. The question seemed to shake something fundamental in the Jothic warriors. The youngest one spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "The matriarchs, the hive queens, since we hatched. And when was the last time anyone asked what you wanted?" Hayal continued. "Not what you were ordered to want. What you actually wanted." The silence that followed was deafening. Khyven could see tears forming in his own eyes as he witnessed something unprecedented. The most terrifying military force in the galaxy, experiencing a moment of profound recognition. Jara slowly removed her helmet, revealing features that were indeed striking. Angular and fierce, yes, but with a dignity and grace that transcended species. The other warriors followed suit, and for the first time they looked less like an invasion force and more like individuals. "We were told," Jara said quietly, That humans were soft because you valued things like beauty and art. That these made you inferior. Maybe they make us different, Hayal said. But different doesn't mean weak. And strength doesn't mean you can't also be beautiful. You can be both. You are both. The lead warrior was quiet for a long moment, her compound eyes studying Hayal with new intensity. Then she did something that made Kievan's heart skip. She placed her clawed hand against the barrier, palm flat against the transparent surface. Hale matched the gesture from her side. "We will return to the hive," Jara announced, her voice thick with emotion. "But not to report your surrender. We have much to reconsider." As the Jothic warriors filed out of the chamber, each one paused to look at Hayal. Really look at her. As if seeing a human clearly for the first time. The youngest warrior turned back at the doorway. "Thank you," she said in halting English, bypassing the translator, "for seeing us." When they were gone, Kievan rushed into the chamber. Hayal was leaning against the table, trembling slightly. "That was insane," he breathed. "Brilliant, but insane." "How did you know?" Hayal smiled tiredly. "Because I recognized something in them that I've seen in every warrior culture throughout human history. The loneliness of being seen as nothing but a weapon. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight. It's to remind someone of their own humanity. Or in this case, their own worth beyond utility." 3 months later, the Jothic collective sent another delegation. This time they came not with weapons but with questions. They wanted to learn about art, about music, about the human concept of beauty in all its forms. Commander Jara personally requested that Hayal lead the cultural exchange program, and Kievan watched as his friend taught the galaxy's fiercest warriors how to see themselves not just as instruments of war, but as beings worthy of appreciation and wonder, all because she had dared to speak a truth they had never been allowed to hear. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't superior technology or military might. It was the simple, revolutionary act of recognizing beauty in the unexpected and having the courage to name it aloud.